Hello, good morning. I'm preparing a wonderful Wednesdays with Willa podcast for you. For those of you who are just joining me for the first time, this is something that you can watch on my Facebook page, which is Willa White Medium. And then I also upload it to YouTube. And this goes out on the Lilydale Facebook page as well, because it's one of the Lilydale radio shows. There are quite a few Lilydale radio shows now, so I encourage you to take a look at those. It's on blogtalkradio.com/Lilydale Radio that you can usually hear the audio only. I typically have a special guest on the show, but today I'm flying solo because I really want to have a spiritual conversation with all of you as we prepare to kind of shake off the dust of 2020 and move in to 2021. So the topic today is the spiritual gateway to 2021. And so I especially prepared this particular show for you. I have been having so many spiritual inspirations. They're really getting me very excited for this coming year. And I'm actually launching a whole series of classes. And I'm super excited about the ones that are coming up here in January, because I really feel it's an opportunity for people to get jump started for 2021. So I'll talk a little bit about that during today's Wednesdays with Willa podcast. But I want to focus in on that understanding of the spiritual gateway to 2021. So as we reflect on the year 2020, it's one of those things where we felt very much in the midst of the physical world. We have been in that understanding of life and death, how do we relate to people in this physical world, avoidance of physical contact, not being in physical presence of other people, having to do things virtually. It's been a very interesting year as we reflect back on 2021. And there have been a lot of things that we have not liked about 2020, 2020, because it's been one of those years where we had a bit of a reset in terms of ourselves. And some people have been very desperately affected with relationship, with health, with career, the financial, their families. If you're having to school your children at this time, it's a very difficult time for people who are having to do things so remotely. It has been a year where physical things have been very difficult. And that is interesting to me because I've been in my inspiration, I saw the image of a Torii Gate. And so a Torii Gate is something you may recognize from Japan. And that's a symbol I'm going to use today. Torii is spelled Torii. And this is a special sacred gate that you'll see many Torii gates in Japan. They have about 32,000 Torii gates because it's part of Shintoism, which is one of the religions in Japan. So Buddhism gets a lot of airtime in Japan, but so does Shintoism. And Shintoism really reveres the spiritual world. They have gods, but they talk about the spiritual world. I'm going to talk more about that Torii Gate, but I'm going to show you an image of a Torii Gate, especially for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about. What's this Torii Gate? What is Willa talking about now? I'm going to show you a picture of that. I'm going to share screen so that you can see an image of it and really understand a bit more about this Torii Gate thing and how it relates to the spiritual gateway of moving from this physical world of 2020 into a spiritual sacred mindset for 2021. So that's going to be a focus of the show today to help you understand that. And I'm going to share a special prayer with all of you that I felt inspired to develop. And that's something that is coming soon in this particular segment. But first, I want to share with you the Torii Gate. So let me get that up on the screen. So hopefully you can all see this is a Torii Gate. Some of you are going, oh, I know what a Torii Gate is now. I've seen those. They're typically red, sometimes with the black, Sometimes they're left natural stone. They can be made out of wood. They can be made of a lot of things. I've seen them where they're just two rocks, and then they have a string across the top. But it's that idea of we've got the pillars, we've got the structure at the top, and through different parts of Japanese history, some of this changed, like having those extra supportive pillars next to it and things like that. But this one is on the water, so people would pass through this, in a boat, and that is something that they would be doing. But a Torii Gate is they have 32,000 Tories in Japan alone. And these are typically found in front of Shinto shrines. And in fact, every one of the Japanese emperors has one of these Torii Gates in front of it. So that's what a Torii Gate looks like. So the Torii Gate is representative of moving from the physical world, the material world, and into the sacred space. So in that particular one that I showed you with the water, that leads to an island that is a special sacred island. So I just want to set that imagery in your mind today about that Torii Gate. And what's also interesting about the Torii Gate is that is referred to as a bird perch. And one of the reasons for that is that it represents the spiritual connection of birds with the spirit world, which is kind of interesting. Usually white birds are what it's related to. And it's so cool that birds become messengers of spirit. And that's something that some of you have already recognized. For some of you, it's a cardinal. For some of you, it's a chickadee. Who knows? So for some of you, it's the eagle. Whatever, birds sometimes take on that understanding of the messenger of spirit. So this is why it's typically called the bird perch. Now, what is also interesting about that Torii Gate is not only do you have that structure, but you have a way of entering and passing through that particular gateway. So you would bow, and then you would move through, and you move through on one of the sides, the interior sides of it. The center is said to be where the gods walk. So they are a polytheistic understanding of Shintoism. So it's kind of interesting that there's a reverence of revering of the sacred space. And I did a little bit of research because before I did the show, and it's something that on New Year's Eve, people will go to these two Torii Gates and have a special little walk through the Torii Gate because they are resetting. So then I was like, this is why Spirit showed me the Torii Gate, so that I could get you all excited about going through that gateway of understanding. Because there's that idea of 2020 and switching the calendar to a new year of 2021. We physically, because of how our calendar year is set up with our 12 months, we physically have to take that calendar off the wall and put up a brand spanking new one. And it's kind of nice to have that fresh, clean slate. Nothing's written on it usually, and until you get your hands on it and start scheduling all kinds of things in it. And it has this kind of appeal of what can we create going forward. We learn from the past and we move forward into this fresh, clean slate of a year. And it's really kind of exciting. I want to show you some more Torii Gates just because I can. So these are some more Torii Gates if anybody wants to see them. You can see how in this upper left area that it is, you can see you pass through it in the village. Some of them are set up so they're like this whole tunnel of Torii Gates, and there's a whole particular way that they're constructed, as I was explaining. But there are famous ones that are in the water, and the one at the beginning of December actually was hit by a typhoon. And so they had to raise money. These get replaced because they are revered in Japan and in other places too, and when you feel that connection with it. So anyway, those are Torii Gates, and we were able to pass from that material world into that spiritual world. So we're going to pass through the physical, that heavy physical stuff that we've been dealing with, the lack of physical contact, the fear that people have been riddled with. It is affected them on a systemic basis in their physical bodies, and then in the world, in the environment that they're living in. We want to shift out of that mindset of the material world and the fears that have accompanied this, and the anxieties, and move into a spiritual mindset for 2021. So in a little bit, I'm going to share my prayer with all of you that we can all enter into this different understanding of the future. And I'm going to lead you possibly through like a little guided prayer meditation. It's very simple, but I feel will help refresh and reset many of you. I hope you're excited. But I also wanted to explain, I do have my January classes coming up, and I specifically have tailored my January classes to help so many of you reset yourself and move and make this new year very powerful for yourself. Powerful in the sense of your spiritual essence, connection with that, really the development of the soul. And so I have 3 classes I'm doing for January. So January 4th, January 11th, and January 25th. I skipped Martin Luther King Day. So we have 3 classes. They're all on Monday evenings. If you can't attend the live class, it's okay, because I am recording it, and then I will email the link to you the very next day, and you'll have a week to access it, and you'll fit that into your life over that next week and enjoy and learn from it. But I set this up so the first class is positive affirmations, because when you're wanting to prepare your future, when you're wanting to manifest miracles in your life, wanting to manifest the good things into 2021 and step from that material world and into the spiritual world, that spiritual conception of things, and give birth to new ideas, we need to speak the word. So if you look at scriptures, if you look at things biblically, you need to speak the word and prepare. So it's the word of God that flows through you in those particular moments. So the first class is positive affirmations, because in order to have miracles, we first prepare for the miracle. There's a mindset that's associated with those things. And then we expect miracles. We move into saying or speaking of the words. And it sets the intention, because many things in life are about right intention and putting things into right practice. And so then we invite miracles with these specific positive affirmations. I'm going to help people craft them, because I enjoy working with the language and recognizing when the words fit correctly for that particular person, and how to frame it in the divine right language is so very important. So I'm very excited, as you can tell, about that particular class. The next one on January 11th is meditation for you, and I'm going to talk about a lot of different meditation techniques. Maybe techniques you've experienced before, maybe new ones you haven't, but lots of tips and in both of those classes, a lot of secrets of things that I have found along the way to help me in my understanding of spiritual and natural law, to help me in my understanding of my spiritual practice. And I kind of like that I'll be leading you through all of this, because it's a refresher for me as well. Even though it's something that I use regularly, almost on a daily basis, it's a refresher. When you teach something, you really move into sometimes a better understanding, and I get excited to see what happens with my students. So then that final class is Magical Journey Within, because we want to work with that body, especially after everything we've been through in 2020 and having to do with the physical difficulty of even having contact with a person. What do we do with the feelings that we have of depression, the things that are locked inside of us, and how do we relax again into our lives? So those are things we're going to talk about in all of those classes. And you can find that on my website if you go to willawhite.com, and you can register for those classes. And I feel is going to really help people if they put these into practice. I'm going to give you the tools, the best tools that I can give you for this month of January to kind of get you started. And I'm really excited to be able to share that with you, because that is that idea of the Torii Gate. We're going to pass through and allow ourselves to step through the gate. How often do we request from the universe, and we say, oh God, I want this so badly, or I want to do, and then some things show up and you're like, well, I don't know, I'm scared. Some people get scared to walk through the door. They get scared to understand what could happen as the opportunity, and how to reflect on that and be in that spiritual mindset to receive their greatest good. Those are all things that are part of what we can build within ourselves individually and as a group mindset, that mass consciousness of moving out of this fear mindset and into a powerful spiritual vision and practice. So you can tell I'm very excited. So when it comes to stepping through the Torii Gate, as I said, there's a reverence that's associated with that. And so as much as, we have these New Year's parties and these ideas of staying up till midnight and greeting the new year, and it's a lot, there's a lot of fun and joking that can happen with this. There's also that recognition of the sacred. Now, the sacred doesn't mean that we don't have humor. The sacred, oh boy, God finds a lot of things funny. Let me tell you. And it's that understanding that there's always that kind of awe and wonder of what the future may hold. So I'm going to take us through that prayer now. So if you wish, you could close your eyes and just let me lead you through that Torii Gate, that symbolic Torii Gate in your mind. Just follow my words and take a few deep breaths first to relax. And center yourself. Good. And this centers us together. It centers us with the intention of the divine, with infinite intelligence, the ultimate wonder and web of existence, connecting all things, seen and unseen. We know that as we merge that which is the material with the spiritual world, we find us in the middle. And at this time, I ask you to invite your highest possible understanding of self and soul to this moment, knowing that that which is light and love gathers in this space, that you are a spark of the divine. Envision that Torii Gate in front of you, a beautiful Torii Gate. And as you approach this with your soul, you honor it. Perhaps you put your hands together, perhaps you bow, whatever feels good and natural to you in a reverent, honoring way. We're about to step through that Torii Gate. We're going to leave the year 2020 behind and all the years prior, but we're going to understand the lessons that we take from those experiences of the past. We have gratitude for the things we have greater understanding of at this particular moment, knowing that the other things that we don't know yet are for another time. But we give thanks for being done with that year and being able to move forward as well. There's an ending of cycles and a preparing for the new that we feel at the cusp of this particular moment. Take a final breath. And let us step to the other side together. Envision yourself passing through the Torii Gate, moving to the other side. It feels good and natural. And at this particular moment, I feel a special kind of vibration, a hum within my very being that resonates with this new opportunity of 2021. I can feel that vibration within me, responding to all the good the divine has for me, that I will make this my understanding to react with the highest and best good of understanding in those moments, to bring that sacred self to the events that are to come. The recognition of quieting my mind and entering into a deeper understanding of silence and of spirit. And as I step into this future, I give thanks for that which is to come, knowing that the future is boundless. And it's foolish to fret about times and conditions. And that my mind responds to exactly what I think about it. And so I choose to think good. I choose to connect with the source because God governs my every thought and is the source, the cause and condition of consciousness. And in the singleness of that consciousness of supreme being, there is eternal bliss, infinitude and wonder that greets me in this year 2021 as I move and let go of the material concerns and into a spiritual mindset of grace. I know that all is unfolding in divine right timing, divine right order, and I am working with spiritual natural law, evolving that in my life and knowing that there is a new sun rising. I step from that one plane to the next with grace and agility, knowing that in the fullness of the divine, I advance into that space of plenty, that space of learning, that space of beyond comprehension. I step into the moment of now. Taking a last few breaths of understanding, of gratitude for this moment of sharing with the Torii Gate and the greater understanding of passing through the gateways of our life, of ending cycles and preparing for the new. We give thanks, knowing that each one of us is a spark of the divine, and as such, we have unlimited potential for love and peace and joy. Amen. I hope that helps to center you and ground you in that which is the spiritual understanding and mindset for this year 2021. And if you happen to be viewing this later in the year and you've just found this at this particular moment, know that it was perfect, that you can choose to step into that power of now at any point in the year, at any point in your life. And that it is accessible to you, and that it is possible for you, and that you have this pure potential as a soul to step into the pure grace and into divine poise. Oh, I can't tell you how great it feels to have done that with all of you. I'm glad that I could share it with all of you special souls today. And as I said, if you're wanting to join me for January, please do. You can sign up for the individual classes, or you can sign up for all three. And I will have a special group of students that I'll be working with you in a special way for January and in the months to come. Whew. Oh my goodness, I'm kind of on this little spiritual right now. So it was great to connect with you. I've got some great guests planned for January and beyond on my Wednesdays with Willa show. Thanks so much for tuning in today. And I wish you all of the best, the glorious connection with God and spirit, and that which is the spiritual plane of understanding that we could bring to every moment of our lives in this physical earth material plane here and now. Be well and God bless, and happy 2021. Bye-bye.